What's up, YouTube? It's Lions Fan Express coming at you with that man-to-man press. And in today's video, I'm going to do a Bryce Young draft profile. Now, before you guys come at me with pitchforks, hear me out. Do I think that the Detroit Lions should take a quarterback at pick number 6? No. Do I think that they are a competent organization? Yes. And what do competent organizations do? They do their due diligence. And when you're picking in the top 10, specifically at number 6, you have to weigh all your options, because you never know how the board's going to fall. And I think that especially goes for any position, including quarterback. And when it comes to quarterback, I don't think there's a more polarizing player in this draft than Bryce Young. A lot of people are going to be either high on him, or a lot of people are not going to be as high. So I felt like it was a good thing to just kind of watch his film, break it down, see what the former Heisman can do, and kind of just give him an overall view of what I think his projection in the NFL looks like in 2023. So with that being said, let's take a look. So Bryce Young, he's a junior. He's supposedly 6 foot, 194, and he's from Pasadena, California, and he played at Alabama. So in 2022, he had about 33,000 passing yards, 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a completion percentage of 64.5. Some of the things that I like about Bryce Young is that he has a really high IQ. You can see with the decision-making that he makes on the field. He gets the ball to his receivers that are open, and he can read the coverage and kind of dissect the defense as well. So that's one thing that I think that's really an important part of his game. Also, he's an improviser. He's got a really good athletic ability to scramble out of the pocket when the play breaks down, extend the plays with his legs, and then deliver the ball downfield. It's really good to be able to do that, especially in the NFL, because you're not always guaranteed to have a good offensive line. So being able to make plays like that is really key. And then also he's got the X factor. Like when you watch him play, he is a superstar. There's a reason why he was a Heisman winner. It's not just because he played at Alabama and he had a bunch of good players around him. Like he truly shines and makes other people better as well with his play. So when I watch him play, he makes a lot of good plays that I think, wow, that can be an NFL player. So one thing that I think is a big critique of a lot of people, including myself, is his size. Now, he's listed at 6 foot. I think he's going to be probably more towards like maybe 5'10"-ish and a half, 5'11", and he only weighs 194 pounds. He's definitely going to have to bulk up a little bit and get in the weight room so he can be able to take care of his body. And that kind of goes in with durability. He's got to be able to maintain his body, keep it healthy. He did struggle a little bit with injuries this year. He's not going to be able to take those hits if he has that slight of a frame in the NFL. And also his awareness. He's a good athlete. He can scramble out of the pocket, but his pocket awareness is not the greatest. Sometimes he is just unaware of the pressure and is kind of oblivious. Therefore, he does take a lot of sacks at times. That has to improve, especially when you're a player that can't really afford to be taking a lot of sacks with your size and stature as well. So when it comes to a draft projection, this is going to be a tough one, because I personally feel like Bryce Young can go as high as the number 1 overall pick. Now, obviously, the Chicago Bears probably aren't taking a quarterback, but whoever trades into that pick, I could definitely see them taking him. On the flip side of it, like I said, I like him. I actually have him as my quarterback 1. I do think he's the best quarterback in this class. But on the flip side of that, I can also see, his stock kind of going down once the combine hits and also pro days, because everyone's going to be concerned about his height and weight and not know how to evaluate him just based on his skill alone. They're just going to be worried too much about not having the intangibles or not having those, key factors of being tall and being a bigger quarterback. Which to me, that's not a big of a deal. You see a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL, like Drew Brees, who I have a feeling he's a lot more like Drew Brees when he plays, a little bit more athletic. But you see Kyler Murray, and I know for better or for worse, I know he gets a lot of crap, but I do think he's a pretty solid quarterback as well. And then Russell Wilson, again, another quarterback that had a really down year, but let's not forget he was also a former NFL, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And there's other, there's Doug Flutie, and that was a, old example, but there's plenty of quarterbacks back in the day that can compare to him specifically. And I think that Bryce Young is a great talent. He's got just all the things that you look for in a quarterback. He's got the production to go along with the accuracy, decision making. He's clutch. He's able to like scramble and go outside the pocket. And yeah, like I said, I think the biggest knock is just going to be his size or lack of size, especially compared to some of the other quarterbacks in this class, like Levis and C.J. Stroud, who are going to be bigger and probably stronger quarterbacks. But when it comes to him, I think if you put him in the right system, he will have success. Like his lack of height should not keep him from having success in the NFL. Now, do I think that he needs to put on weight? Absolutely. Like you just can't be that light as a quarterback and expect not to get injured or to keep up in a full, rigorous NFL season, because even though he played in the SEC, which is probably the most comparable to the NFL, it still doesn't come close to what an NFL season looks like. So overall, I really like Bryce Young. I think he is QB1 in this draft. He's got a lot of things that you look for in a quarterback, and whoever he gets drafted to, I hope he has success. I just wanted to take a look as not just like necessarily for the Lions, but as a quarterback prospect in general, to see kind of like what makes him, one of the best quarterback prospects in this draft. So that's kind of my opinion on him. I watched a lot of film on him as well, and that's kind of the things that kind of stood up on tape. He did have a really bad game against LSU that I want to point out, but even then he was still able to get his team within almost coming back to win that game. So it's one of those things where, like, if he wasn't on the team, I don't know what would have happened this year. They might have even lost more games than they probably should have. And when it comes to other quarterbacks, Alabama quarterbacks, look at Tua Tagovailoa. He had a pretty good season with the Dolphins. Mac Jones, he's starting with the Patriots. He's been kind of up and down. But look at Jalen Hurts. He's leading the team all the way to the Super Bowl. So, if you're worried about necessarily, he's from Alabama, he has a bunch of just talent around him. I think he's better than all three of those quarterbacks. So wherever he goes, he will definitely be an impact player and definitely have a chance to prove himself like any other quarterback, but especially given the fact that he's going to have a lot of things going against him due to the fact that he is just not physically gifted as other quarterbacks. So I know I kind of went on a rant, but like I said, I just want to kind of get my point across that, size doesn't always matter. It's more about what you have inside. I know that was kind of cheesy, but ultimately, I don't think that the Lions are going to take him at all. I don't even think that they're going to take a quarterback until maybe, if they do, till later in the draft. But if there was a chance, if they had to take a chance on a quarterback, Bryce Young would definitely be one of those quarterbacks I would have on my list at the top of the list, because he just provides so many things that you look for in a great quarterback. So with that being said, if you guys like the content, if you like the video, if you agree or you disagree, make sure you put that down below. And I'm going to keep dropping some more NFL draft videos as I keep, continuing to watch film and breaking it down for you guys, so we can have an idea of what the Lions might do this upcoming draft. And as always, go Lions.